Welcome, it's the Crypto Sniper. Yes, and back on crypto. I haven't spoken to you in a long while in crypto, and there's reasons for that. It's pullback season. So what tends to happen is continuation until you get a fairly lengthy period where you make a call and it's incorrect and you get pullback and you're not in a continuation phase, you're actually in a pullback phase. And that's kind of where we are. So there's nothing really to report. The last thing I want to do when we are in the crypto markets is to encourage people to go short. Anything more than, we wouldn't go short at all personally, but some people might on low time frames for short little periods. We are in a macro bull generally in the crypto markets. So we're going to be talking to you about Bitcoin chart, what it's likely to do next. We're also going to talk to you a little bit on Ethereum, and we're going to do a little news segment update as well in this very video. The news. There's been news in crypto. Let's get straight to that. So I'm going to pivot to the screen and I'm going to show you on Twitter what's going on. Roger Ver, who I interviewed at one point in Acapulco, he's been arrested. Known as Bitcoin Jesus, was arrested over the weekend in Spain. Spain's starting to get a nasty little habit of cooperating with the US authorities with very little morals. Don't forget, McAfee was picked up there and then never quite made it out of jail. Isn't that interesting? Roger Ver's been picked up in Spain as well. Spain is an oily little nation for collecting supposed criminals, inverted commas, for the US nation. God forbid Assange was arrested in Spain. He'd already be rotting in Guantanamo and probably be dead under custody by now. Anyway, that little political comment aside, a lot of people actually don't have issues with Roger Ver. The most I can see that was a bad is he sold fireworks online, and he would have been a younger man doing that. Hey, I'm kind of like, all right. So that's bad, and something related to that led to a felony charge. Okay. Generally, he was one of the original guys on Bitcoin, and I'm going to be talking about CZ as well. Also, a bit of an OG on Bitcoin, and coming to some conclusions on what's going on that I would like you to think about. As I mentioned in this tweet post, many of you are following on the Crypto Sniper on Twitter, well now X or whatever it's meant to be, soon to be some payment operative that elongated muskiness will be running with doggy coins. I don't know. But the man sometimes called Bitcoin Jesus, the reason for his stopped is capital gains tax owed on Bitcoin. Now, Roger surrendered his passport and did leave and got a passport under St. Kitts and actually was living in Japan quite some time ago. But now the US, so that would have been quite a lengthy time back to get away from the extractor. So here's a little bit of a chit chat to many of you in the crypto space that maybe haven't checked this out. But the US runs a global tax system. It's one of the worst and most draconian. Plus, the US is a massive bully. The SEC and everything they do and anything that comes via America is so intimidating that European businesses and other businesses actually say, we just won't take you. You're too much shit. That's right. It's too much hassle for the worth because we have to do so much compliance, so much paperwork. We can be intimidated, threatened, fined, pulled through courts, even though we're not American businesses, just because you happen to be an American citizen. So, little reminder to all my beautiful friends, and we have many Americans, and I love you all, and it's a beautiful country, and I go there, and I love your nature most. Moab, Utah, everything, it's awesome, but, you have a nasty slave master. You have a nasty slave master. And one of the things a slave can do, which we all are, can actually fire your slave master for a new slave master. You don't easily get to float without a slave master for too long. Even if you're spending less than 180 days in certain countries and you're skipping and you're Mr. Nomad Capitalist, it helps at some point if you're able to show a certificate and say, I am tax certified as a taxpayer in this new country. Now, lots of small little countries, for example, Georgia, actually will give you 0 capital gains, 0 offshore dividends, no tax on any of that, and will tax you 5% on any real estate income you make. That's not much. That would be minor small beer. Own no real estate, you have no problem. Or own it and don't rent it, you have no problem. But hey, what's 5%? If you make 100 grand and you pay 5 grand of that in a year on real estate, it's worth doing. So we've just completed a webinar on exactly this that could have saved Roger Ver from what is now befallen. I don't think he's necessarily done it wrong. The US might be fishing, but the problem is once they arrest you, here's how it works. You don't get justice. They don't do a real court, even fair fight. They stick you in a jail and then they force you into plea bargain roulette. And plea bargain roulette goes like this. We've got time to wait, rot for a bit. And you rot for a bit and then they say, 10 years, $1 million fine. Or in Roger's case, who would have had a lot of Bitcoin really early on, $100 million fine. And you then go, that's a little bit much. And then they go, rot some more. And they go away and they leave you there. And they make sure you really hate life. And then you sit, kind of like the solitary confinement that the UK government has been perpetuating against Julian Assange for showing you the collateralized MURDER video that showed, yes, you guessed it, US soldiers machine gunning journalists. That was all in the good old gung-ho, get 'em, plus shooting a vehicle which had kids in it that came to pick up injured uncles as well. So these kind of things, you've got to be careful of. They're bullies. Your slave master, if you're American, is the biggest damn bully, and they don't do justice the way justice is meant to be. They do you rot until you sign something we're happy to have you sign. And that means loads of money for us, lots of suffrage for you, and we show you who's boss. That's kind of how it works. So, to my American friends, while this is a crypto channel, small segment of advice, you could actually email us on support@themarketsniper, and my other friends, UK and all the others, Australia, Canada, English language speakers in Europe, it's time to sever the relationship with your slave master and get a new one, a smaller one that's really keen to have a few slaves which have a few beans and actually cuts you a whole bunch of slack. You are in a slave system. I'm here to tell you, you are in a slave system. Choose a friendly, cool slave master. Why don't you? And we can help you with that. Support@themarketsniper. Send us a mail to find out more. Anyway, Roger had the really ugly slave master. And even if Roger did everything right, because Roger is Roger and he got a whole bunch of Bitcoin kind of early, he might be a real tasty morsel to sink the teeth in. So he's going to get bullied now. And Spain, being the prostitute it is, its legal system, love the Spanish people, no issues with you. Again, it's the government, the controlled capture of that government. Very happy to be Zionist's little poodle and pick up people and send them over to America. There you go. That's how it works. Off he goes. So the most depressing thing, as I say in this comment, is exactly what goes on in the comments under it. And everybody's so happy. Everybody's so happy and everybody pay your dues. So let's say He's a Marmite kind of guy. Not everybody likes him. Not everyone dislikes him. He sold fireworks online and he got a felony charge of some sort. That smacks of misdemeanor to me. It doesn't smack of career criminal. And he's a smart guy. He got in, he understood. He, of course, forked and wanted him with a group of other people, thought Bitcoin should go bigger blocks. So a lot of maxis hate him, and that's a reason for hate, wanting something to be better maybe, having an opinion that didn't match the existing opinion once the thing got a whole bunch bigger and more used. Okay, I personally, in terms of my interaction with him, found him cordial, friendly, non-arrogant for probably a very wealthy guy. And I think this is typical of tall poppy syndrome. Everybody needs to hate somebody who made it big. And you're also happy that he's going to be forced to, not you, my clever, educated audience, but the general Twitterati ex-normies posting in the replies there, yeah, pay your dues, pay your dues. Pay your dues for what, you might say? For letting every single immigrant through the bottom of the border so that you can have a a career criminal that's been released from Honduras, Venezuelan jails, whatever the case may be, with 9 children, not working, waiting for government to give him his pocket money for his family, waiting to get his free house so that he can then bring the rest of his family over and all the other little brats. And so it goes. You're paying for that. You're paying for sending money to Israel so that they can test new military-industrial complex weapons on children in Gaza, and then go to a trade show and say, weapons battle tested by our stuff. By the way, the weapons industry in Israel is absolutely massive, right down from handguns, firearms, right the way into the more technological stuff. It's almost as big as their surveillance, finance, software tools, and everything they do. So spyware first, but not far behind, is selling methods to kill people in creative, painful ways. That's what Bolsheviks do. So you're paying for that too, aren't you? And then you've got to ask what the whole story is with what that goes down with that money. Well, the money you've given them, they've done such a good job. They've collateralized you. Go and look, by the way, at some of the posts I made from the John Hamer book. That's right, The Falsification of History, about how you aren't even citizens. You started out liberty, sovereign citizens in a republic states, separate republic states in America, and how you got coerced into actually being corporate entities by birth certificate, capitalized names, the person that is, and being ward and owned of a soon-to-be bankrupt corporation, USA Inc. So you're getting more than you expected on crypto today, and this education is important because I will be going to the charts. I will be showing you Bitcoin and Ethereum. But first, let's see who's running the show and what happened to our original gangsters, Rog, Ver, and CZ. So now you are a corporate IRC. The company went bankrupt. They pledged all your private property as collateral to the bankers that were given the license to bring and borrow money into existence. And these are international bankers, not just US bankers. So you may say the Fed is owned by all the largest US banks, but who owns all those US banks that own the Fed? And that's where you start to get to Vanguard, BlackRock, and everything else, and other European entities that existed before America, as in its current form, was even born. They pledged your assets as citizens as collateral. That is why you pay property taxes, even as a real estate owner. That's right, you will do. So the Great Taking, many of you might have heard about the Great Taking, will actually just be the seizing of that said collateral on the next bankruptcy. That is assured. What is the debt clock tell you? It's probably at in and around 35 trillion. Let's get an update. Debt clock. Let's have a little look. So your collateral is hanging on this number, and the Great Taking will be the manner in which they will actually seize your assets. Of course, they have tokenization waiting in the wings for that which they don't seize. That will then become a derivative proxy of the physical things that you own, so that they can purchase those derivative proxies at a later point and turn you into a tenant in your own home. This is what blockchain, crypto, and all these founders are all about. And you're seeing the guard change. The dreamers, the libertarians, the people that spoke of privacy and being your own central bank, to now coin go up, bring the institutions, bring BlackRock, make me the money. Never mind that that is the very slave master, that aggressive slave master that seized a man in Spain and is probably going to have him flown to America if he doesn't die in custody along the way, as McAfee did. So I personally hope that he is in good health and care and makes it across and gets a chance just to pay these extractors and bankruptcy kings off and goes back to his free life in Japan and is done, because maybe the exit tax or whatever was supposed to happen never quite happened. If you're cheering a government that is weaponized against you, you are in a war. If you are cheering people that have taken the act of defunding these machines, you're cheering them being dragged back down into the crab bucket and being part of feeding that great monster that just gets bigger. You're on the wrong team. You're a sleeping normie. everyone here should be looking to reduce the amount they contribute. This is going bankrupt anyway. Get into physical assets, leave your country of your current passport, birth, your work, your home, and all of that. Go somewhere else. By the way, if you're in the West, which 90% of you watching here, your home state is going to be destroyed. Go see things such as the Deagle stats. Go see the facts that are coming in with the Kalergi plan, Cloven Bowen, whatever the other version thereof, and look at your current immigration policies taking place in Ireland, United Kingdom, across Europe, Zone 2 of Paris. Go have a little look and a walkabout there. Go and have a look at Miami in the USA. When you realize that, there's very little you can do to stop these weaponized criminals of chosen ones that have determined to crush, that's right, crush Western European man into the dirt and force low income, low culture, low class people that are turning your nation state into one giant welfare state. When you realize that, you'll see the values of ex-communist countries such as Georgia that you think you would never bother or care to, being in the south such as, oh, South Africa's so dangerous, and Chile and Argentina and maybe Bali and Indonesia. You will see the value as these things escalate with the Middle East. Debt clock, here we go, 34 trillion, 700. Wow, 700 billion. And look at the rate that baby's clocking up. Look at the rate that baby's clocking up. That's why you got into crypto in the first place. You know there's something coming. You know needed it to be. And you were told that it was the libertarians. They had to win the hardest people over first and get them in to bring the rest like sheep, because the sheep will follow all the thinkers. They don't think, they follow the thinkers, because it's hard work to think. So they got the likes of Roger Ver and believing and preaching how he was escaping. The fact that he's actually being arrested and treated in this almost assures me that he probably wasn't an agent of K, you know, the three letters that if you just say them all together, or FB, that he wasn't one of those. And as a result, he was probably someone who believed in the original freedom of Bitcoin and cared for privacy. Now, you will not have any of those things. Let's move on to CZ. Let's move on to CZ on our scintillating news coverage. It's not every day we do a little bit of news coverage for you. So CZ has always presented himself kindly, professionally, and politely on Twitter, even when he's had unbelievable things thrown at him. I would like to thank everyone for your care and support, be it writing letters, showing support on X or any other form. They all mean a lot to me and keep me strong. I will do my time, that is going to be 4 months, in prison, conclude this phase and focus on the next chapter of my life, which will be education focused. A silver lining of this whole process is that Binance has been under the microscope and funds are safe. Now, we all laughed and mocked him a little bit for his accent. Canadian Chinese guy who started Binance never rug pulled anybody, and I didn't like utilizing the platform. I said it often enough, but lots did. It became a major platform, and you were never rug pulled. You never not got your withdrawal if you complied with everything that was required. You were able to trade, and you were not FTX. That he got blamed for causing the downfall of, where there was a little WhatsApp group about sending things around on withdrawals, and your chosen one who was actually buying Bahamian villas with your money and just hot moving a massive pot of money that were absolutely not segregated or separated. So one man focused on safety of clients' funds and doing his damnedest for being trusted as a custodian, and the other is still, we're all still waiting for a return of funds from the FTX crash, which saw everybody get washed in a massive way. That's right. So there you have it. He goes to jail. He goes to jail for literally being too good at running Binance and having too much of the flow, I suspect, and needed taking down a little bit. You see, the bullies are in town. That mafia I was telling you about, they want compliant stooges in charge. What replaces him? World Economic Forum guy. Now, the reason I'm doing this news segment is you're to spot a trend in this little narrative. The original gangsters that had good principles, potentially, and certainly in the case of CZ's case, Roger, I understand, he funded the Dollar Vigilante sponsored things to try create Bitcoin awareness. He did his fair bit. He sold fireworks. Okay. Got a misdemeanor. Okay. Fine. You can make your mind up on him. I'm not here to make someone popular or unpopular. I would ask you, who is the greater villain in all this? And who has the power and who is stepping in? Because we no longer have the Roger Vers and the CZs. Instead, we have BlackRock and Larry Fink. Now, my guess is good old LOL, good old chosen one LOL, never gets to go to jail for anything, no matter what. And you can rest assured on that. And that could include Epstein Island visits, who we still don't have the list of the name of. I'm dropping all the best code words to really pump this YouTube up. I'm going to be really kissing the algorithm to the moon, and you, to help me to talk truth to you, are going to hit the like button right now and give me one share only, to a friend or a pal, because we're here to talk some truth and we've got to fight against this machine. So what's actually happening is the institutional frauds of the old system have injected themselves. Since my engagement actively with crypto in 2016, I warned everybody then, even when Roger was talking, it's your liberty, it's your freedom. This is pre even splitting and the fork of 17. With that, I said it is probably captured from outset. If not, it will become so. I still think it was captured from outset, but they let the tentacles hold back for a while to get all the libertarians in, and now they slowly clutch what they were in. The Trojans were in there from the beginning. Satoshi Nakamoto. Fairy tales for adults. We have consistently stated this for 8 years. 2016 to 2024. I never bought that tale. Roger did. Many did. And they spoke reverently of Satoshi and all of that. I don't speak reverently of Santa Claus, who gifts me things down my chimney ever. But anyway, it's not about me. It's not about that. But if you ever doubted that it was captured from the beginning, you should see the kind of people who are coming in now. And that has the same outcome, I'm afraid. So, CZ is a criminal. Roger's likely to be a criminal and going to have to stump up big time for owning Bitcoin real early, even after he'd left America, living somewhere else on a St. Kitts passport, because the extractors must extract. The great mafia is here, and you're either working for them, where you get away with sins, or you are somebody who should be sucked dry, punished, and thrown aside as a lesson to all, to know who your real slave master is, especially when you have the big chest-beating macho one that comes from the SEC and the land of America. So endeth the epistle on the news segment. Did you enjoy it? Hopefully you did. Give it a share. Let's get into the charts about what's going down with Bitcoin right now. Why have we been so quiet, some may say? Why so quiet? They say it's almost as if they bust us, like I have an obligation to do. Nothing doing. We've made money on coffee to the moon. We've made money on USD JPY. Falling yen, all of these things have relevance. The reason why Bitcoin number one has been struggling, as we pivot to the chart on Bitcoin, I will be telling you in 1 second's time. But it's going to be a long second. You see that? It's fallen through the 60K. It's been in a pullback phase. I'll come back to the technicals, but I want you to highlight the last localized high. When did that happen? When did that happen? If you have sharp eyes like me, even with my blue light blocking amazing gogs, courtesy of Gunner, there's no affiliate link. You can go and find them. They refuse to affiliate me. I don't care. They're good stuff and I use them. So free shout out to them. On the 8th of March, the 8th of March, you tapped out on Bitcoin. And let's also say we were wrong. And we've been right most of the way up the bull. Everyone got scared, bull, 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 because we are continuation trading. In fact, let's discuss where we were wrong, because we often talk about when we're right and we talk less about we're wrong. Funny that. Most people do that, don't they? Well, let's tell you how we were wrong. During this period, we suggested that there was a possibility you might get a Bitcoin breakout at this point. And in actual fact, you initially did. You got that March the 8th run up that was getting ready to maybe take you to a new high. And in fact, we also mentioned Binance, which we said would outperform Bitcoin because we had a structure on Binance and we were talking about Bitcoin and Binance. We did say absolutely all those things and they all failed. Both of them failed. And then we step back because when things fail, it's saying feedback. Your current bias to continuation may not be correct for a while. You are right on the macro, but on this time frame, you may be looking at longer falls. So what happened? You eventually ran what would have been our stop over here, and we were done. We were done and out. Basing ascending grind line done in the double blue lines clearly shows very strong bounce revisits, smackdown, approaching the 60k, second effort made the 60k and again, and you have now run it with quite strong momentum down here. Another rising wedge over there, by the way, for you to enjoy. There was warning that that rally may not last forever. Boom, boom, bosh, broadening structure down, and you've run 60k to the downside. So once you get feedback that an HVF is no longer going to deliver to the upside and it fails, you get out. If you'd got in at the latest point, you would have been long there. We usually like to get in early. We were in early. And if you got out at the latest point, which is the stop there, it's still not a crisis, especially if you understand money management and sizing. So the feedback is that setup isn't working. Continuation may not happen. And it was the same for Binance. I'll refer to it in a little bit now. A little bit later. So my initial flag draw that I drew, that I was showing you, remember that March the 8th date, by the way. Maybe let's do that first and we'll come back to the chart. Why is he talking about March the 8th? Well, we're going to clean all the scribbles on there and I'm going to show you a chart. I'm showing you a chart of Dixie. What did Dixie do? Pointing the finger. What's he doing? Yeah, look at me right here. He was going up. He reversed from a downward swinging Dixie, and we are actually dollar index biased long on the macro, and we've called out on Market Sniper people that were thinking dollar weak. We think no, it's strong. We've discussed it about it. People will be right and wrong, as we will be too. And we saw this return move bounce. I'm going to show you that return move bounce because technical analysis works for all markets. This was a return move after you did that little head and shoulders. It's of course an inverted head and shoulders. It made its target. It turned, even though it tried one more time for a little bit of extra overperformance, it came all the way down and bounced at the 1025. And we were the only ones that thought the 1025 was an interesting level. It ties into key levels of significance. That is our methodology along with HVF method. It ties the 102.5 as a very, very key important level. And that was a return to that level. So let's go back down to, let's not go 4 hours, let's go 8 hours. You'll see that bounce, boom, chakalak. Oh, that looks like dodgy drawings on the inside the bathrooms. Oh dear, let me get rid of that real quick. I'm getting nervous. There we go. So 102.5, you bounced, little move up, a little pullback, little move up, little pullback, little move up, falling wedge, super spurt. Super spurts. Where did it all start happening? Hold on a minute. Friday, the 8th of March, 2024. Guess what? That, my friends, was non-farm payrolls day. Yeah. So now you know, as we are approaching the next non-farm payrolls day that you didn't know about, that you didn't realize, first Friday of the new month, happy May, by the way, sell in May and go away, come back in St. Leger's Day, they say in the equities market. So it's the doldrums of, starts to be the doldrums of summer that often come for equity markets, but you certainly got the data that pumped the dollar. The American economy's never been so strong, so good. Massive employment. Of course, they've got the birth-death model, which is another lie. The Bureau of Labor Stats, another lie. Everything is a lie by the mafia extractors. They tell you exactly what they want to tell you. But you'll see certain commentators say, everything China does is a lie. Yes, it is. But so is yours, a manipulated lie. And that's the problem with some people that think their poo doesn't stink quite as stinky as everybody else's poo. And that's a dirty little habit, if I can and if I may. Anyway, Dixie up, Dixie up, Dixie up, flag, flag, flag. Another spell of Dixie up. We're on the 8 hours. And of course, another spell of Bitcoin down. February the 8th, you have largely been in a structure of upside on the dollar. Here we go, here we go, here we go. There he blows into the channel, which you have subsequently broken. We have been dollar index strong, and we've been making money on the USD JPY. That's right. It's also stopped gold and some other things that were getting a little bit disorderly on the upside. The canaries were tweeting about that very same debt issue that I was showing you on the debt clock and everything that's going on and how rate cuts can't come. You know what happens with rate cuts? Debt has to go up in value. You see, rates, debt. It's a seesaw. My little baldy head is the pivot. Rates up, debt valuation down. Rates down, that means somebody's got to buy and hypervalue that debt. Well, nobody wants to buy the debt, so you don't get the cuts because the Fed will have to buy it if nobody else buys it. That's called monetization. It's kind of like the snake eating its own tail that wraps its way around the world. Some of you will wink and nod and know exactly what I'm referring to there. But self-monetization is how they keep their Ponzi scheme going. And whilst the fact that cuts will not come, meaning that the debt is going to be held weak, that's the downside on the one side of the seesaw. That means dollar strong, where my elbow represents the dollar. Dollar up, not so much cuts. Pressure, pressure, pressure on everybody else that has to pay dollar-denominated debt offshore in dollars, but is not selling enough stuff to Americans. What do? They print their South African rands, they print their Turkish lira because they need to buy more dollars to pay the higher interest rate on their debt, and as a result, they devalue their currency by proliferating at a relatively quicker rate. That can cause subsequent debt crises in the emerging markets and other nations, such as Japan, first-tier nation, who is attempting to hold their debt at a super high value. What do you do if you keep holding up the one end of the seesaw? The currency end goes down. That's been happening. It's a big old world, and this all has effects on crypto. Dollar up, problem for Bitcoin. If we go back, I show you the 8. This is on an 8 hour. Let's go back to the Bitcoin chart. And we can take that out. $8 on the 8 hour. Let's go up to the 8 hour. That's a slightly bit bigger than what I was on. And let's just look at what happened since then. And you can see the recent spill has come with the breakout of the Dixie on the upside of that channel that we were referring to. So it's been down, small rally, down, grind, spill. Okay, so many of you are saying, what's going to happen next, sniper? If you're so smart, which we aren't, what's going to happen next? Well, good question, because there's a couple of things. What I'm shown is the dollar has actually been part of the story. An uncomfortable fact. So let me tell you the bearish news first, and maybe something that's a little bit more joyous later. The bearish news is if you take the dollar out of the whole equation, the head here on the Bitcoin British pound is marginally higher than the left shoulder. You do potentially have a left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. On the 48,000, I would have that on the 48,000 pound mark, not the 525. Let's just change it. How did that become 525? I don't do round numbers rule the day, fine people. So 48,500. We draw like that, and that should indeed be better. That's it. And the target there in pounds, remember now, and you'll have to think what will be the dollar pound in the future if that were to happen. Be mindful, just because you get a head and shoulder doesn't mean you have 100% guarantee that it's doing that. In fact, reversals have a lower probability of delivering than continuation. Hence why we trade continuation. Yes, please, sir. More money, please, sir. Like, you know, Oliver Twist with my gruel bowl. More gruel, please, sir. More goy slop for me to gorge upon, sir, so that I can be healthier than all the other slaves. Okay, so there we go, 48,500. And you're getting a little bit of a small hammer now. But that isn't the kind of big hammer that sees that whole thing end. That's the kind of rising wedge hammer. There's a little bit of a fear. So I'm going to wear the bear hat right now. The bear hat, indeed, it should be a bear head. I should have, and I should be growling at you. That would be fun prop to have. But that smacks of a little bit of weak rally return move potential. So there is a real threat out of this that you could trade 39,461 pounds. By the way, what's the pound right now to the dollar? Let's go have a little look. GBP, JPY. Let's grab another chart that we can steal. GBP, JPY. Show me what it is. GBP, not JPY, USD. Go to FXCM and we'll have a little look. GBP USD. So it's about 1.25. So if we go back to our chart over here, there, 1.25, what would 39,000, call it 500 be? 39,500 pounds times 1.25, assuming that gold's, that dollar didn't get significantly more valuable. Now, FX can be volatile, but generally it doesn't move anything like crypto. So you would be looking at around 50,000 for that. Now, had the pound got a little bit less valuable by the time that target got made, remember, that's not a guarantee. We're talking about the future here. Reversals don't always perform. But were that to happen, you would be looking at a break, probably sub 50K on Bitcoin. Don't forget, it went to 74,000, virtually 75,000. Going sub 50 to 75, that's 25K. You've lost a third. You've lost a third. Now, previously in the bull market of Bitcoin, you had a sell-off. You had a sell-off right the way from 64,000 that actually traded in the 28s. We called that. We had a head and shoulder. We've reminded you of that head and shoulder so many times. I simply refuse to draw it again for you. And that was the 29K, only for you to then rally further to go to 69 and make a marginally higher high. And that was the top of the Bitcoin market, and it was failing to make highs against the Nasdaq at that point and against gold because the risk was going away. People didn't want the high beta risk. They were starting to get a tiny bit more scared, and they thought, I'll rather buy Tesla. Okay, so back we go into this. So you might say, well, that's the pound. What's the meaningfulness of the pound nowadays? I mean, it's far from a significant currency anymore. Well, as I said, the dollar and the euro are a seesaw of their own. So when the dollar gets super strong, the euro typically is undersold because they are the big conversion. In the West, people swap between those. It's a 4 trillion last time someone guessed. I don't know how they would know. So I'm repeating it, but I'll say take it with a pinch of salt. It could be 10. It could be 3. It could be 1. It's just super big. The dollar euro. So dollar strong typically means euro weakness. So you're taking someone who's neither nor. And that is the British pound. A bit of fun for you because we've been talking about the Japanese yen. You have the same head and shoulder on the BTC JPY, which remember has been one of the weakest currencies of the world over the last few years. By the way, everybody's calling it now. Everyone's on it. Extreme hedge fund valuations. Warren Buffett is in it, etc., etc. Other YouTube influencers are using the yen weakness to pump their dollar coupon theory and tell you why you should buy treasuries, etc., etc. We are here to say to you that we've been in the yen weakness space since 2021. So it's a very interesting currency. But back to crypto, this is almost a better head. It's clearly above that left shoulder, which is over here. And you got your grind line there, and you should have bailed once that broke. You are not getting the HVF you might have thought you were getting. This was a very steep grind line. That means too much money getting tired, chasing in along the bottom, holding up the lows too steep. I prefer it if it was more like that. That gave you a little bit of a clue that it might fail. And what happened is you get a fizzle. You break, and then literally the minute you got into the new high on the yen, not on the dollar, you got slapped, and boom. Now there's no spine. There's no bid stack built up. There's no thick bid stack on the ladder. There's lots of people getting out, a little bit of fear. They're all smashing the market, and the bid stack is weak, and the market is being run. So the ladder gets run, and that's kind of what's happened. So when continuation fails, as it did for us on Binance and Bitcoin, and we are inaccurate, we stand back and say, fine, do what you're going to do. We sulk a little bit because we asked for more gruel and instead he spat in our bowl. So we stand back and we wait until we see new information. And we suspect to a higher degree the possibility of reversal because it's no longer continuation. It's not a binary thing. Sometimes you can have a middle space of gray. That's neither black nor white, where you can waffle, wind up, calm down, and then go again later to the upside, or do something different. But in this case, we have a triggering event, which is what we call in HVF method, any break of a key level, the key logical round number that was kissed on the left shoulder. There's armpit 1, there's armpit 2, and that is, my friends, a key break to the downside. So you have a triggered head and shoulder on the British pound, Bitcoin, and you have a triggered head and shoulder on the Japanese yen. I've told you why we're not looking at the euro and the USD for that. So that's kind of bearish. It insinuates a little bit of possibilities to a lower side. I'm not going to do the Japanese yen calculation. The yen I'm expecting to lose even more value. So what the yen will be, if that was to be run, who knows, who knows. Stay with the guide of the pound. Sub 50K possible on cross-currency Bitcoin evaluation. A triggering event happened today. We're here to tell you about a triggering event that happened today. We were talking about the possibility of that earlier with others. You can get our news and feelings and everything earlier by clicking that very first link below and booking a call, talking to a friendly face that was a trader just like you. Every single one of our onboarding team who will show you the platform, go through the package options, was first a customer. That's right. He walked your path as well. That's how it works here. And that's why we're still on YouTube. We've been on YouTube since 2009 with the Market Sniper, and quite a few years now on the Crypto Sniper, our second channel. Reputation matters. We give 14 days, 100%, no quibble refunds every time as well. So it doesn't cost you anything to make a call, it costs you just time. And there are lower, I know people are squeezed right now, there are lower cost options with payment plans. So click that link below and start building your alpha in terms of trading and freeing yourself from the slave master that's a big bully and getting yourself a kinder, smaller one that kind of likes to look after his slaves so that they stay with him. Okay, so that's kind of the negative bit about it all. I want to also show you something. This is Ethereum, so let's wipe our face again. This is bigger time frame Ethereum. Some of you will recognize that. Now, we were also on this channel saying to you that, and many times we were here, we were saying it from quite early in the break. We'd spoken in our community about this upside HVF. This target was run. I shared it on crypto. You may now get a meaningful pullback now that Ethereum Euro, it's a setup on the euro, not the dollar. Again, that cross-currency analysis filters out when the dollar has become part of the story. Remember, if you're measuring Bitcoin, dollar, Ethereum, dollar, you also have another component that is a variable in there. It's not as variable as either of the other two in terms of volatility and variability. However, it sometimes can become a little bit part of that story. Valuation across currencies is something we naturally do, and we have a community full of people that have been taught smart things and doing it too. So they're reminding me and I'm reminding you and everything like that. That's the value of co-opted group of people all focused on doing one specific thing really well, that is in a format that is logical, cross 360-degree analysis, all markets across different measuring levels, and the euro is different to the dollar, and we look at it to gold and many other things. So we do technical analysis on those time frames. This setup took you through to 3,227 euros, which would have been roughly 10% at the best on that, another 300 in dollars. So you'll be about 3.5, 3.6, maybe approaching 4K max. Since then, what has happened? Had you closed here, you would have had the final blow off which you would have, many of the younger people and the less patient people go, oh, damn, I got out. Why does he have these target things? We should just hold forever. Then it would have turned, then it would have fallen, and you would have seen fall, rally, fall, rally, fall. So let's have a look at that on a lower time frame. This was a warning that for alts generally, and quite possibly for Bitcoin, that point you've now met is a key point. A key point for all technical analysis for the bull market that we called at the 25K as a long on Bitcoin to have a first major rest. Remember, we said a stall at or just through making new highs. It's been a long stall, longer than I expected. We thought that wind up on Bitcoin was going to be good. We got that wrong. We always assume continuation first, and we let the market tell us when it's no longer doing it. But actually, if we had taken the Ethereum target into account, maybe we should have been more circumspect and said, but we need some progress decay, a pullback period, because a very big time frame, this by the way is 2-day chart, upside HVF had gone home and done what it needed to do. And it's most common in all HVF method that you get real meaningful pullbacks. However, in due course, being a first setup in a new bull trend, we expect it to overperform later once this is finished. This could in fact be a flag such as that, and you've already had one set of selling, two sets of selling, dropping for a third. Let's have a look at that dropping for a third and go to a lower time frame. So if we were just looking at Ethereum, this is still one of the most significant. It's been largely out of the news quite a bit. We go to the 8-hour point. Don't forget, when did it turn? Roughly, show me those highs. There we go. There's a high. There you go. 11th of March. Bitcoin turned on the 8th, which was Friday. Non-farm Friday. Immediately, the institutions that understand that the dollar sell Bitcoin, the liquidity. It takes a while to filter through to the second biggest token, the alts, to realize that macro matters. And you actually only left, even this was very close to the high on the 13th. But after the 13th, boy, did you sell off. You see, you had a leading indicator that gave you a warning. You could have exited if you hadn't taken the target that you'd got from the excellent HVF method setup that I drew with our new draw tool, which will be rolled out once the video series are done to all our longer standing members, absolutely free as an additional tool, by the way, for them to use and draw, giving you all your HVF details, all the levels, the risk rewards and everything else in your box, and doing the draws super fast for you. However, often sells occur in 3 waves. They can occur often in 3 ways. So many will see this that are chartists as part and parcel of what's considered to be Elliott wave theory. So that would become an AB, that becomes a BC. This strikes me as a rising wedge actually, but that would be A. I'm going to call it Greek A as in alpha, B as in Greek B, drawn with straight lines, and C as in Greek C. And typically then the next sell-off there, which makes a new low, becomes the CD mark as in Greek D, and then you get another weakening attempt to go up, and that forms another rising wedge, which we'll call DE, and you now sit with E, something like that. Let's do it like that, and you are now in an EF sell-off phase, which has made a marginally lower low to this low. If this continues to hammer and go, you might actually be done. So I presented, and Ethereum's a big alt, so it is an indicator, but Bitcoin is the key indicator. So that would probably see, if this is to be the end of 3 sells, so 3 waves of selling, 2 weak rallies in between. Very Elliott-like, you tend to, and you'll know us for focusing on that because we also have the 3 impulse, falling wedge, rising wedge, and everything else. This does have a little bit, let's use another color on it. This does have a little bit, that's not another color. Let's click again, try get our little boy blue, something like that. Is there a squeeze on there? I'm not too sure there is. I'm not too sure I drew it that well though either. Let's take those 3 off again and try again. There we go. That like that. And like that. There is a slight squeeze, I would suggest, in here that could make this 3 impulse falling wedge, for which you have your first impulse, Greek 1, Greek 2 is this complex one with the dip and dive here that encapsulates all the way from there to there, and then you might go Greek 3 like that with this over there, which could mean that in actual fact, to panic sell if you didn't listen once we said, hey guys, this market is showing us that it's not interested in continuation, get neutral, gets flat, you would be wrong to sell now if this 3 impulse falling wedge is to turn its way up, slowly work its way up and form some degree of bottoming and then subsequently start pushing back up. It has been a fairly lengthy pullback period. 8th of March, very early in the beginning of March, you've had the rest of March and all of April. What day are we today? 1st of May, whoop, whoop, Workers' Day. All you communists, Labour, solidarity, friends, that's right. I'm all for Labour, I'm all for solidarity, but not the kind that comes with the Bolshevik framing that we all in this together. Individualism is dead, it's a narcissism. That's the new leftist speak, by the way. Time to watch out. That sees everybody get the same thing and everybody sit around for somebody else to do the work because we're all in this together. Solidarity, no. Individualism, those that work, still has value. They are trying to taint capitalism. And it's not capitalism that you have. You have monopolism, you have fascism, you have a corporate fascist megacorp government cartel that's in cahoots with government. Anyway, stop him, he's getting political. Let's go back to the charts. Let's go back to the charts and have a look at Bitcoin one more time. So it's quite possible that you could in fact get this rally a little bit. There was Ethereum that we were walking and talking about, and the technical run of the 60k, you might rally back up. Who knows? This was a flag by my reckoning, but some, if I just switch the light off on that, some have drawn it differently. Some elect to have drawn it differently, and you could maybe say, no, that's not a good line either. You could maybe say like that. It's kind of a bit forced and it don't look right to me as a flag. But some might say you're still in the flag and you've just hit the bottom edge. That could work, actually. It could work. It kind of just gets that upside HVF. We traded that to the long side. I've cut out this top there, though. That's a little bit imperfect. And we've left these lows in nowhere land. So there's a little bit of political license in that draw. Let's put our draw back on with the eyes there. That had it capturing that low, and these lows, which also were the support of the 60k, just being run, key levels of significance, just run it, rebound, run it, rebound, and then there was no rebound this time. Michael Saylor to the rescue. Michael Saylor to the rescue. How many chairs are you guys sitting on right now? You're not diversifying in chairs? You mean you're all in on one chair? Oh, what a card. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh dear. Jedi mind tricks of the highest order for normies. Yes, Michael. Oh, yes, you're a billionaire, Michael. Whatever you say, Mikey. Oh, yeah. I will go all in Bitcoin. Fastest horse. Giddy up. Okay, anyway, I'm getting stupid now. But that was quite fun. I enjoyed myself. Damn. I have too much fun making these videos. I love serving you guys. I hope you're entertained. Smash the thumb up button because I've said all the danger words in a bid to tell you the truth. All the danger words about how the world is in a bid to tell you the truth. That's right. Help me help you. Help me grow so I can help more of you. That's right. Anyway, so back to Bitcoin. It's a run of the 60k. It's getting a little bit of a bid up, and that is... I'm not sure about the flag. So the long and short of it is I've given you both a bearish possibility with the head and shoulder that applies to other currencies that haven't been that strong, mainly the British pound. The question is, when does the dollar stop going up? When does the dollar stop going up? We might want to look at a bigger time frame. This was a nice brave move out of the flag. It's great for my USD JPY trades. It's great for a number of things that I'm able to trade because we are holistic, not exclusively crypto. I tell you what happens to crypto guys who trade crypto only. They're of a certain generation. They got into it. They're kind of young. It's what they think they know. They don't listen to the macro. They think they only need to know crypto. And then a non-farm payroll number comes in. The dollar starts spiking and goes into a super trend. And they go, crypto's become a crap place to trade. And they think it's all random. They're not got eyes on the side of their head. You see, that's why I wear glasses. You've got to have eyes on the side of your head. You've got to see left, right, and center in terms of what's going down, and that's what we specialize in doing. And the dollar strength, it came out of the non-farms, and we knew very quickly don't hang on. How many guys hung on, kept going in long, got shakeout? Liquidations have been high. Let me tell you, I just saw a note on Bitcoin, 145 million just today on that final spill. People are getting murdered right now. In fact, some of you might be watching this. I didn't even think of this because it doesn't affect me. But some of you watching this probably got really hurt if you were in on Bitcoin. And I'm sad about that. I don't retail. I want to see you win. You are my friends. You are my supporters. I want to see you win. I never get any delight out of hearing that. But it's much nicer to not be affected by that news. And that's the difference. And that's the first link in the notes below for you to click. Not getting murdered is as important as making upside, because at the very highest point, when the turn is needed, we'll realize it quicker even if we go into it wrong, which we were 100% wrong. We will still be hanging on to capital and we'll be getting out when the turn comes. And the biggest game of this Bitcoin, okay, key moment, just look at me now. Just look at me. This is a really important point. The most important thing in this entire equation that's going to determine how much wealth you make in this crypto bull market will be how far down you let the new fresh bear take away what you made. That is probably the most important thing. It's not how much leverage you used on the way up. It's not that'll kill you, by the way. But let's say you're all moderate money management. You're not losing your heads. The key point of how much wealthier you will be in this fast moving asset class will be determined at how soon you realize you're no longer right by wanting to be long. I showed you on Bitcoin when we ceased to be right. And actually, I think I should have done it quicker. I should have been on it sooner. But we were making money on Arabica coffee. We were making money on USD JPY. And that's the other thing. When dollar's strong, be long dollar. Don't be long Bitcoin. And the fact that we do other markets in this actually gives you diversification of outcome. We had an unbelievable run in coffee. Now the dollar is so strong that it's even affecting the softs. But for a while, it didn't even matter. All on HVF methods, setups, hunt volatility funnels that you could learn, be spotted, and be in. That come from the Market Sniper channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit always there, as you're just doing now on this channel. So the dollar is currently in a state of strength, and it's going to determine a lot of things. Non-farm payrolls this week, Friday. So I went on a long roundabout trip, but the big goal, live trading day with us, for us to determine for you whether that dollar strength is likely to continue into the next couple of weeks. This is March the 8th. We've been running on that non-farm and nothing changed in the subsequent one. So you've actually had two supporting non-farm payrolls were interpreted for dollar strength. That's why you've sat here since March the 8th and all your accounts are down on your crypto that you're still holding and you never got defensive. Because you didn't have us there interpreting it for you and saying it's not a good time to be long. Hold on to what you've got at 66,000 rather than you're selling now at 59. Hold on to what you got at 68, 69,000 rather than wanting to trade possibly below 50. Possibly. We're not saying it is. I'm not coming in here on a bear call. I'm saying this guy determines, and the data for that will come out this Friday, and you will have a live trading day. And if you've subscribed for our free video series below, you will be in our mailing list and you will get an offer, a newsletter. In fact, it's already gone out, so you will miss it this time, to join us for live trading day. And as a courtesy to people that are busy, Normally on Friday morning, I do a quick live stream and say, hey, we're going for live trading day. Now do you understand why we do that on that day? How many other YouTube influencers point out that the dollar is one of the key aspects of Bitcoin's success? How many of them point out that your massive rally from the 4 grand all was on the proliferation of CV19, the 7 trillion that took you up to your 64 and later your 69,000? That it took them proliferating and bringing the dollar down. They need a demand-destroying event to pump your Bitcoin because they need to bring in the fresh supply, and the certain agencies with 3 letters, FBA and KIA, are all in Tether now, and they're going to need to bring in more tethers to pump up the dollar, to pump up the Bitcoin price, and they need probably a crisis to do it. So we could get worse and make that head and shoulder. There could be other geopolitical news, and then there will be some releasing, or it will just shake its head. The dollar will become weak for whatever reason. We'll have a bad non-farm this period, and then they need to start talking cuts again, which will be a lie because they can't cut too much or for too long because the debt is overvalued. So this is where we at on crypto, fine people. This is where we at on crypto. It is getting it's getting to a very interesting place. Come and join us live trading day. Okay, so many things for you to do here and so much learning. So I'm going to finish up with this video because I wanted to show you Binance. We looked at the Ethereum Euro. There you go, getting a bit of a rally, 3 waves of selling. Here we go. So we did say we expect Binance to overperform Bitcoin. Now, that has turned out true, but that is like saying it's going down less than the Bitcoin dominance chart, or the Bitcoin itself has gone down over this period. And you will see that since we called Binance to do less badly, we actually said better than, but it's turned out less badly, which is still accurate on this. You will see that Binance token has done rather well versus Bitcoin. So we're looking at Binance versus Bitcoin on the 4-hourly chart, and here you go. Boom. Nice little break, a pullback in, bounce on our axis, an absolute walkout. We posted this on Twitter as well, by the way. Are you following at the Crypto Sniper? Hit that follow button on X and you will see what we have to tell you. After we've run we got rejected at the second interim after running it a couple of times. Then we formed a wind up. We pushed for some overperformance, and since then it served as support. Second interim, key level. So at the time when we were looking at this, your axis was about 8.5 and the total target is almost 10, 0.01. That means one Binance or one Bitcoin is one Binance is 1% of one Bitcoin. I got there in the end. Bloody hell, falling over my tongue there. There we go. So nice little broadening structure. I would expect that to be continuation. Could still come back in that one more time, but you will break and you will run the point at which Binance token minus CZ, who's now been punished for 4 months in jail. They're actually going to put a very decent guy who I don't think's done anything provable dirty from what I can assess, but that's not a well-researched opinion, but was actually kept everybody's funds safe, as he said, probably accused of some form of manipulation. Because he had a volume exchange, anything you do, you're likely to have some effect on prices. Don't forget the Feds and the banking cartel that are doing this all the time in the currency markets, the gold markets, and everywhere other place. Not that you'll see anybody go to jail, though. No, sir. So this has been an outperformer and remains so, and I expect Binance to get through 1% of Bitcoin. That could be on going less down. If they both go down, it could be on them both reverting upside and Binance doing better. It could be on Bitcoin churning and Binance drifting up, which is not dramatically anything, but still a slight reval. So that's an update from yours truly, the Crypto Sniper. Did you enjoy it? Share it with your friends. We appreciate it. All those danger words do us harm on the algorithm. Show us that you love us. Smash the button. We're delighted to be serving you. Good times will come back. You do not need to take batterings on the pullback, and you mustn't give back your high water mark beyond 15% once this big game reverses. Getting out at the top and saving what you've made on the upside. Many of you will not be feeling so flush. If you were staying long, may as well stay long until we get better clearance of what's going to happen. Come to live trading day on Friday. Book a call in the meantime to contemplate. If you're actually part of our community, it's absolutely part and parcel of the services we deliver. And you will get to see what the dollar does and why that is going to be so important for what Bitcoin does next. The halvening is behind us. Remember, things like halvening gets priced into the future. The ETF run was all to capture that fact. Once it happens, yes, the supply is reduced, but everybody who wanted to play that trade was getting in before it. So there's a hollow point. The ETFs are actually having no money come in, and in some instances, some money go out, because everything that was news got baked in before the news and it's actual happening. Now that it's happened, you sell on, you buy on the rumor and you sell on the fact. And the fact is in. There's no new drivers. They're waiting for the Hong Kong, whatever. We will see. Till next time, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, we're here to serve with a smile in reset times, wealth building, capital preservation. Make some big decisions about where you're going to see this reset out. Till next time, I'll catch you later. Bye for now.